What's up, beautiful people? My name's Lars, and today we're talking all about Lanzarote, one of the beautiful Canary Islands. I've got some gorgeous places to share with you, so here's my Lanzarote top 10. Lanzarote is a volcanic island off the coast of northwest Africa, known for its otherworldly landscapes, sun-soaked beaches, and unique local architecture. Shaped by volcanic eruptions and now a wonderful holiday destination, Lanzarote is an unforgettable getaway that I'm sure you'll absolutely love. With its sandy coves and lava fields, whitewashed villages and cactus gardens, mouth-watering food and adventurous days out, Lanzarote has something for everyone. To kick things off, we have Playa Blanca, which is where we stayed. If you're looking for a solid base to both relax and explore the island, it's hard to beat. You'll find accommodation of all varieties, plenty of restaurants and bars, and beaches that are perfect for sunbathing or trying water sports. Accessing everything is super easy as there's a path along the whole of this coastline. Our favourite beach in the area was Playa Flamingo. It's sheltered, has calm waters, and being a little further from the town centre, it felt a lot more peaceful. We often headed to the nearby Bahia restaurant, and whether it was a sandwich, a steak, or a couple of massive cocktails, it always hit the spot. Playa Dorada is another popular beach, closer to the centre of Playa Blanca and with a few more amenities. After a sunny afternoon there, we'd recommend grabbing a pizza at the Italian Job. Great food, lovely service, and a nice way to round off the day. For the shopaholics, there's a market every Wednesday and Saturday at Marina Rubicon, and whilst Hannah's eye was caught by the jewellery, I was most impressed by the delicious sugarcane juice, which was pressed right in front of us. There's shops dotted all around, and you'll be able to get the usual souvenirs as well as clothes, accessories, and a whole host of other things. Playa Blanca is also the main port if you fancy a day trip to Fuerteventura, which is another one of the Canary Islands. A short hike, drive, or boat trip from Playa Blanca is one of the island's best beaches, Playa de Papagayo. We were staying in the east of Playa Blanca, so we opted for the scenic walk over the various headlands to get there. If you have the time and the fitness, we highly recommend this route. Not only will you get to experience the beauty of the rugged coastline, but you'll also pass by a handful of other gorgeous beaches along the way, including wide stretches of soft sand and other more intimate sheltered coves. If you choose to drive, it's a bit of a bumpy ride as you'll be going down a dirt track, and we were told in no uncertain terms that if we drove on this road specifically, the hire car insurance wouldn't cover us. Nevertheless, we did see loads of people doing it, so it's more than likely absolutely fine. Regardless of how you get there, set off early so you can experience Playa de Papagayo before the crowds arrive. It's a stunning beach, and we loved the clear water and the golden sand that was set all between the volcanic cliffs. There's a beach bar at the top where you might be able to grab a cold drink and enjoy the views, but when we were there they told us seating was reserved for diners only. Honestly, we were happy with our picnic down on the beach anyway, just enjoying the views and the water. On the way back, we stopped at some of the other beaches and cracked a couple of beers with sunset. Next up, we have Timanfaya National Park with its surreal landscapes and dramatic history. Entrance costs €22 for an adult and $11 for a child. The guided coach tour through the heart of the park is the only way to explore the protected zone, but it's absolutely spectacular, with jagged lava fields, huge craters, and views that make you feel like you're on another planet. You'll also see some demonstrations that show just how hot it is beneath the surface, including dry grass bursting into flames and water shooting out of the ground as steam. There's even the option to eat at the restaurant that grills food using the natural volcanic heat. As it's one of the most popular spots on the island, we suggest getting there before the park opens at 9 AM to beat the queues. By the time we were leaving, it seemed to be one in, one out, and people arriving later in the day must have waited far longer than we had to. Next on our list is Teguise, one of the oldest towns in the Canaries and home to Lanzarote's most iconic Sunday market. There's stalls selling everything from handmade crafts to local produce, and there's a great atmosphere throughout the old town. When you're ready for a break, head to Cantina just off the main square. This cosy spot serves up flavour-packed small plates, local craft beer, and some of the best food we had on the island. Just 5 minutes up the road is the Lagomar Museum, a creation of Lanzarote's most famous artist, César Manrique. Adult tickets are €10 and it's €8 for kids. Built directly into volcanic rock with winding staircases, hidden caves, and even a lagoon, it honestly feels like you've stepped into a Bond villain's lair. Local legend has it that Egyptian actor Omar Sharif owned it for just a day before he lost it in a game of bridge played with its previous owner. Whilst we'd have loved a little bit more information dotted around to tell us Lagomar's history, it was still great fun to explore and to photograph for an hour or so. For a more off the beaten path adventure, hop on a ferry from the northern town of Orsula to La Graciosa, Lanzarote's tiny neighbouring island. Visiting La Graciosa was genuinely one of our favourite things we did, and because it takes a little more effort to get there, it felt a lot quieter than Lanzarote. We hired bikes, one electric and one human powered, and used these to travel all over the island. Visiting La Graciosa felt a little like stepping back in time, as it has no paved roads and instead you'll cycle or walk along sandy tracks linking the various beaches and formations. Our favourite stop was Playa de las Conchas, a remote beach with huge crashing waves and views of the uninhabited island of Montaña Clara just across the sea. Just be aware it's a 6-kilometre ride from the port area to get there, and the heat can really take it out of you as you pedal along the sandy tracks, but the peace and the natural beauty more than make up for it when you get there. The Arcos de los Caletones are a further 3-kilometre ride from Playa de las Conchas, and then after this we rode back to the port and got ourselves some well-deserved ice creams. Our final hours were spent on the southern beaches swimming and watching the fish before we got on the last ferry back to Lanzarote. The Jardín de Cactus, or Cactus Garden, is another of César Manrique's masterpieces. Expect to pay €8 for an adult and $4 for a child, and then you'll experience the delight of walking into a cactus wonderland. It's home to over 1,000 species from all over the world, laid out in a sunken amphitheatre. Whether you're into plants or just love a peaceful stroll somewhere a bit different, it's easy to see why this place is such a favourite. Just down the road, like literally a minute away, was another gem, the smokehouse Cueva del Carnero, where we had some mouth-wateringly good barbecued meat. Sadly, we've since heard that it might have closed since our visit, but as you're most likely driving past to get to the Cactus Garden anyway, keep an eye out just in case it's reopened, because it was so tasty. Next up, we have the southwest coast of Lanzarote, rugged, wild, and full of natural wonders. You can easily spend an afternoon exploring this part of the island as it's full of highlights. First up are the Piscinas Naturales de los Charcones, which are natural rock pools that get filled by the ocean's powerful waves crashing into the coastline. You can take a nice walk, and we even saw some people going for a swim, but we played it safe and decided that we save swimming for other spots on the island. Next, you've got the Salinas de Janubio, a patchwork of salt pans that look like abstract art from above. The pinkish tint in some of the pools come from algae and minerals, and it's still a working salt site today. It's a great spot to jump out of the car for a few minutes, as there's a small viewpoint where you can take it all in. Keep going and you'll reach Charco Verde, a green lagoon set against black sand and red cliffs. The green colour comes from algae in the water, and when the sunlight hits it, it almost glows. It's a super quick stop, but definitely worth seeing, especially as right next door is El Golfo, a picturesque fishing village. We stopped here for dinner and drinks and treated ourselves to a paella by the sea at sunset. Watch out for locals catching and then gutting fish, and the ensuing chaos with all the seagulls fighting over the leftovers. Lanzarote wouldn't be the island it is today without César Manrique. One of the best places to get a feel for his style is the César Manrique Foundation, which is actually his former home, built into a series of volcanic bubbles. Ticket prices are €10 for adults and $3 for children, and it's part art gallery, part retro dream house, with lava tube lounges, 1970s interiors, and sweeping views of the surrounding landscape. Manrique believed in working with nature, and you can really see that in his architecture. He also campaigned to keep Lanzarote free from high-rise buildings, so a lot of what makes the island special today is thanks to him and the law that he helped to get passed preventing buildings over 3 stories from being built. The César Manrique Foundation is a fascinating place to get an understanding of Lanzarote's recent history, and once you've been, you'll start to notice Manrique's influence all over the island. Towards the north of the island, you'll find Cueva de los Verdes and Jameos del Agua. Cueva de los Verdes is one of the longest volcanic tunnels in the world, stretching about 6 kilometers underground. The guided tour costs €16 for adults and $8 for children, and takes you through stunning chambers and winding passages. Local legend says the caves were once used as a hideout from pirate raids centuries ago, and it's easy to see why. The natural acoustics are incredible too, and there's even a music auditorium carved into the lava where concerts and special events are sometimes held. The whole visit lasts around 45 minutes, and it's not too strenuous at all, so most people can enjoy the walk through the cave. Just down the road is Jameos del Agua, another César Manrique creation built into a lava cave. It's a fascinating mix of a beautiful underground lagoon, lush gardens, a restaurant with tasty food, a pool, and a concert hall all in one spot. Tickets are also €16 for adults and $8 for kids here, and we decided to eat at the restaurant and highly recommend it. When else can you say that you've dined in a volcanic cave? The food was great, but even if you decide to skip the restaurant, you should pop in to see the view from the toilets, which was unlike any we've seen before or since. Another super cool thing here is the tiny albino crabs that are endemic to the cave system, having evolved to live in the dark, nutrient-poor underground lagoon with almost no sunlight. Since we visited, the Casa de los Volcanes Museum has also opened, offering an interactive journey through Lanzarote's volcanic history. We didn't get to visit, but there's the option to purchase a joint ticket, so it's worth considering. And finally, we have Arrecife, the island's capital. It doesn't always get a lot of attention, but you can easily spend a day here before you fly home. If you're there on a Saturday, you can head to the Iglesia de San Ginés for the local market and soak up some of the old town vibes. There's a nice seafront and a few really cool spots like the Castillo de San Gabriel, which is a 16th century fortress you can easily walk to across a causeway. Most of the island's buildings are limited to 2 or 3 floors thanks to Manrique and other activists, but the Arrecife Grand Hotel stands at 54 metres tall. Even if you're not staying, you can head up to the top floor to get lunch or drinks at Blue 17 with a wonderful view. But for something pretty different, you'll have to head just outside the town and find the Telemon shipwreck, a rusting cargo ship. It ran aground in 1981 after developing a leak while carrying logs from the Ivory Coast, and it was then deliberately beached to avoid sinking in the harbour and has been rusting away ever since. You can't get super close, but it's easily visible from the shoreline near the industrial port, and it's a great place to spend a little bit of time. And there we have it, 10 of the top things to do in Lanzarote. Let us know in the comments which one you'd be most excited to visit, or if you've already been and you think something else deserves a spot on this list. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop it a like and subscribe for more travel guides. Check out my Lanzarote playlist for daily vlogs from our trip, and come say hey over on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Big love, and it feels good around here.